I'm back with more trademark information. Today, I'd like to talk about shapes as trademarks. Now, that's something that you may not have considered that functions as a trademark, but let's talk about that. Now, I've mentioned before that anything that is distinctive as to the source of the goods, anything that distinguishes your goods from other people's goods, that can serve as a trademark. And sometimes things exist as trademarks that we don't normally consider as trademarks. For example, NBC has a sound trademark, that distinctive bong, bong, bong that you sometimes hear at the trailer end of TV shows. That's actually registered as a trademark by National Broadcasting Company, NBC. What else is kind of a weird trademark? Well, Harley Davidson, that I've talked about in other episodes, Harley Davidson has actually registered a trademark for the distinctive and very loud sound that their exhaust pipes on their motorcycles make. I'm not really sure how they're going to enforce that. I have no idea, but anyway, it's a registered trademark. I tend to think they did it more for publicity purposes than any actual reservation of rights, but never mind. So I want to talk about product shapes. Now, anything can serve as a trademark if it distinguishes your goods from other people's goods, and it meets a couple other criteria as far as shape goes. So think about Coca-Cola bottles. I don't drink Coca-Cola, so I don't have a bottle around, but it has this distinct shape, and it also has fluting around the edges. It's kind of got this bumpy texture. That is distinctive enough to serve as a registered trademark, and they do have a trademark registered for that shape. What else is a good example? If you're a chocolate lover, you're probably familiar with the Swiss brand Toblerone and their sort of triangular shaped chocolate bars that have this kind of rigidity, hill and valley. It kind of looks like a mountain, which is appropriate for a Swiss chocolate company. But that is actually registered as a trademark. Nobody else can make candy in that shape. They own the right to make that distinctive shape here in the United States and in other countries as well. So what's required when you're trying to protect a particular shape as a registered trademark? Well, there are some requirements. Now, if the the shape of the product is kind of inherent to the product itself, think about, for example, Legos, like the Lego brick. Now, if you're a parent, you've probably tripped over a few of these and gotten them stuck on the bottom of your feet. But, when you consider the shape of the Lego, right, the Lego brick, if I showed you that shape, you might say, oh, that's the shape of a Lego, right? Because it's sort of distinctive, the shape, but it's also inherent to the interlocking function of the little toy brick itself. In other words, you couldn't really manufacture a piece, a toy like that, and not make it that shape if it's to function in the way that it functions, right? So if you're trying to register a trademark for something, a shape that's inherently part of the goods, that's not going to fly. You're not going to be able to get a trademark registration for that. You can, however, put your name on it, Lego, circle R, on the bricks to let people know that they are Lego brand toy bricks. What else? If the shape adds some value beyond aesthetics, beyond aesthetics, if it adds some value to the goods itself, right, then that is not registrable as a trademark. Let me give you an example. So if you're familiar with Panerai watches, they're kind of these big clunky watches. They kind of have a cult following. They're pretty cool. Too clunky for me to wear, and I'm wearing my Fitbit these days anyway. Fitbit is, by the way, a registered trademark, even though the design probably isn't registrable. In fact, I'm sure it's not registrable, but never mind. I just threw that in because we were talking about designs. So on the watch, there is a crown. They make automatic watches, right? So you have to wind them or move them so that the mechanism will wind itself. And Panerai has a distinctive shape for the protector that goes over the crown and the watch stem, right? So it doesn't get damaged. So that shape is registrable and has been registered as a trademark of Panerai. What's not registrable is the whole concept of having a cover or a shield or a protector for the crown and the watch stem, okay? So, I mean, if you want to know more about that, go look it up. I didn't have time to put up a picture of it, but so the concept is not protected, but the design, their distinctive design of that crown cover is, right? If the shape that you're trying to protect is an inherent part of the goods, then it's also not registrable. For example, let's say that you manufacture children's booster seats, right? There's only so many ways that you can manufacture a booster seat. So the design of the booster seat is kind of incapable of being altered. It's functional rather than aesthetic or decorative. So if that's the case, you're not going to be able to register a trademark for that shape. Now, you could put a sort of distinctive design on it, or a distinctive design in the plastic if you wanted to, and make that part of the trademark. But again, that's not functional, it's aesthetic, right? So it's aesthetic, it serves as a source identifier telling people that your company made the goods, and that's the whole point of a trademark. If you have trademark questions, you can message me on my Trademark Doctor page or leave a comment here on the video, and I'll answer your question in a future live. You can find my Facebook page at facebook.com/trademarkdoctor. You can also find me online at TrademarkDoctor.net. Now, if you like my Facebook page, you'll be notified by Facebook. Thank you, Facebook. Every time I go live, and I do that every weekday to talk about trademarks, patents, copyrights, and other intellectual property issues. I'll see you tomorrow.